So this is my reading response for, I believe. And for this, I decided to read the article entitled Rocks Tell a Story. So the article first begins on page 118, providing activities on how to introduce rocks and their cycles. And they give a lot of really good introductory activities. Like one of them was to take kids to the beach and kind of show them like in person how those things work. But another great way that she talked about on the same page was to pour water on a bucket of sand and see how the sediments move. And I like that a lot just because it allows it to be done in a class setting. Then later on page 119 and into like 120, 121, she goes into depth about the author goes into depth about a good lesson plan activity, really just in depth about the whole lesson, and it's called Pretend Rocks. And the goal of the activity is to get students to notice the difference between like the grain sizes of different sediments and to try to think about how they're formed. I really liked the activity and how it gave you all the materials and every single procedure, every single question to ask the students. I thought it was very in-depth and had a lot of good points. I also really liked that the Pretend Rocks experiment, it allowed students to observe and analyze real rocks at first. It challenged the teacher to try to bring in certain materials that the students could look at. But then it went into a really cool experiment, which I think lasted over the course of maybe a couple days. But basically, the students were able to duplicate the process of creating sedimentary rocks, but kind of more in a sped up version in the lab, so they could see how the process works over the course of a couple days. And I thought that was really cool just because they get to have an artificial experiment that shows the process while at the same time being able to physically see, feel, and touch real rocks that have gone through that same process so that it can kind of connect back to their knowledge. So yeah, I really liked this article and I liked the ideas that it gave me for my future classroom.